In this example, we'll see how to declare an object type in JavaScript, how to extend it, and how to make it compose other object types. So first of all, we're going to want to declare a robot type, and we're going to use the modern syntax with class. So we're going to say class robot, and our robots are going to have a constructor of name, which is going to set this name equals name. Additionally, our robots are going to be able to move, and move is going to be really simple. We're just going to say this.name is moving. Now to test this out, we should create a robot. So we're going to say constar0 is new robot, and then instruct a robot to move. So we can say this.name, a robot, we forgot to give it a name. So let's just call it some robot, and instruct it to move, and we're going to see that some robot is moving. Now, our derived type is going to be a combat robot, and the difference is going to be that a combat robot can have some weapons. So first of all, we're going to need the weapon type, so we can use composition to use the weapons in our combat robots. So class weapon. Our weapon is also going to have a constructor of a description, which is just going to set this description equal description. Additionally, a weapon will have a fire method. And our fire method, again, is going to be really simple, so we're just going to say console log this.description is firing. Now let's test our weapon in isolation, so let's just create a weapon. We're going to call it W0, and this is going to be a pew pew laser. And to test it out, we can just say W0.fire. And if we run our example again, we're going to see that the robot is still moving and the laser is firing. Now it's time for our combat robot. And our combat robot is going to be class combat robot extends robot. Now our robot is not going to have any additional characteristics except for name in its constructor. However, it is going to have an array of weapons. So let's just say constructor, and constructor is going to be a constructor of some name. And we don't want to set the name ourselves, we want to use the constructor of our parent. So we're just going to say super of name. Additionally, we're going to set our weapons array to an empty array. Our combat robots come unarmed. We can add the weapons to them. Now the way we're going to add weapons to them is via add weapon method of some W. And this is just going to say this.weapons.push W. Now that we have presumably a bunch of weapons, we can fire all the weapons. And the fire method of the combat robot is just going to say console log firing all weapons. And then it's going to iterate through the weapons array and fire each of them. So for const W of this.weapons, W.fire. Now it's time to test out our combat robot. So first we're going to create a combat robot. Then we're going to add a weapon to it. And we already have a weapon, which is W0. It's our pew pew laser. And then we're going to say R1.fire. Let's test out our robot. I'm gonna see that it said firing all weapons and then pew pew laser is firing. Now let's assume that we want to upgrade all our robots. Now we can opt to upgrade only our combat robots or every existing robot. And let's say we want to give them the capability to fly, even if they've already been constructed. Now the way to do this in JavaScript is we can add something to the prototype of robot, and we're going to add the fly function. And this is going to say this.name is flying. Now let's test that our combat robot can now fly. We're going to see that some combat robot is now flying. Now this happened because even though the fly method doesn't exist on combat robot, when we search for it, we're then going to search on its prototype, and we're going to go to robot. It doesn't have fly either, but if we search on the robot's prototype, it is going to be able to fly. So I'm going to get some combat robot is flying.